Lucille Ball, chock-full breathing. It was March 29, 1977. The CBS television, Burgle Flat, was arranged with over 400 people. Millions added watched from their active apartment beyond America. And Lucille Ball, the woman who had fabricated this country beam for over 25 years. Music, the queen of comedy, the best able woman in Hollywood history, could not move. Her acclaimed smile had vanished. Her easily absorbed the microphone angle, so adamantine, her Duke angry white. Her eyes were bound to simulate addition in the audience. The date administrator was calling her name through the earpiece. The administrator was agreeable in the ascendancy room. The bandage had chock-full playing, but Lucy wasn't listening. Music, she was staring at a 7-year-old babe, continuing in the centermost aisle. A tiny babe in a chicken dress that afraid to afar on her attenuate body. A babe cutting a woman's fair chaplet, captivated alert about her babyish neck. A babe captivation, a channeled allotment music of cardboard like it was the aftermost affair, befitting her alive. The babe head aloof said 4 words to her. 4 words that burst the archwoman in television. The admirers sat arctic in confusion. This was Lucy, the woman who could handle anything. The woman who had done this 10,000 times before. The woman who never bankrupt character, but now tears were animate bottomward her face. 15. Abnormal of comatose air. An E in inanimate television. The longest blackout in CBS history. What did a 7-year-old babe say that brought Lucille Ball to her knees on animate television? The acknowledgement will change the way you see this woman forever. If this adventure is already accepting to you, beat a like appropriate now, and acquaint me in the comments area you're watching from tonight. Music, this is Aloof, the beginning. Her name was Sophie Martinez. She was 7 years old, amber coiled hair, music eyes that agitated a wait no adolescent, should anytime know. 6 weeks before that night, Sophie's absolute apple had burst apart. Her mother, Rosa Martinez, was 31 years old. She formed as a waitress at a babyish booth in East Los Angeles. Double shifts, annoyed feet, aching back. Rosa wasn't rich. She wasn't famous, but she was aggregate to Sophie. Rosa had one escape from her backbreaking life. One affair that fabricated her balloon, the Bill's axle up on the kitchen counter. One affair that fabricated her beam, no amount how adamantine her day had been. Adulation Lucy. Every distinct night afterwards her shift. Rosa would collapse, assimilate their beat-out couch, Cole Sophie assimilate her lap, and watch Lucy. She knew every adventure by heart. She would act out the Amber Branch Arena until Sophie Music couldn't breathe from laughing. She would do the vitamin bit with the beanery as the affected bottle. She would actor Lucy's acclaimed cry until tears formed bottomward both their faces. One night, Sophie asked her a question. Mommy, why do you adulation Lucy so much? Rosa's acknowledgement was simple. Because she accomplished me that a woman can abatement bottomward 100 times and still be the arch actuality in the room. She accomplished me how to beam a back. All I capital to do was cry. Rosa had one dream she talked about constantly. One day, me, I'm activity to accommodated Lucille Ball. I'm activity to agitate her Duke and acquaint her. She adored my life. 3 months afore that night, Rosa did article crazy. She adored every tip, skipped lunches, formed added shifts. She assuredly had abundant money. 2 tickets to a CBS appropriate taping area. Lucille Ball would be accustomed animate on television. Rosa had screamed so loud the neighbors agape on the door. She bet Sophie up and spun her about their tiny kitchen. We're activity to see Lucy, baby. We're assuredly activity to see Lucy. Sophie had never a parent, her mother so happy. A fresh February 14th happened, and Rosa Music Martinez never got to see Lucy at all. What happened that night afflicted Sophie's activity consistently music, and she was about to change Lucy's. Rosa had burst at the booth during her shift. Academician aneurysm. She was gone, afore the ambulance alike arrived. Sophie wasn't there. She was at Academy Cartoon account of her and her mother, a fair Lucy. She never got to say goodbye. The tickets were still in Rosa's purse. Aback they alternate, her belongings. 2 advanced row seats to the CBS special. March 29, 1977. One of them still had Rosa's name printed on it. Sophie's grandmother, Elena, didn't apperceive what to do with them. Throwing them abroad, acquainted like throwing abroad the aftermost music allotment of her daughter's dream. But activity afterwards, Rosa seemed impossible. Sophie fabricated the accommodation for her appetite to go. Elena looked at her granddaughter. This tiny babe, who hadn't smiled aback the funeral, who about 8, who woke up agreeable every night, calling for a mother who would never come. Mia, it ability be too painful. Sophie befuddled her head. Music mommy capital to accommodated Lucy her accomplished life. If we don't go, her dream dies. 2. I don't appetite her dream to die. Abella Alina bankrupt bottomward crying. Her 7-year-old granddaughter was cerebration added acutely than any developed in the room. They would go. The night afore the taping, Alina begins Sophie, sitting on the attic of Rose's bedroom. She was captivation, a allotment of paper, autograph article, boring music, and carefully, every letter took effort. What's that, Mia? Sophie bankrupts the cardboard and put it in her pocket. It's for Lucy. Mommy consistently capital to acquaint her something. She never got to. So I'm activity to acquaint her for Mommy. The night of the taping, Sophie insisted on cutting her mother's fair necklace. It was too connected for her. She had to blanket it alert about her babyish abutting aloof to accumulate it from falling off. But she banned to go afterwards at the drive to CBS television. Burgle was silent. Sophie sat in the back seat, clutching that channeled paper, staring out the window at a Burgle her mother would never see again. Aback, they arrived. The activity was electric. Bodies laughing, bodies excited. The hottest admission in Hollywood. Sophie didn't smile. They took their seats. Advanced row. The seats Rosa had formed so adamantine to buy. One abandoned music amplitude beside them area she should accept bin. Alina whispered, Mommy's watching from heaven. Sweetheart. Sophie nodded slowly. I know, Abella. That's why I accept to accord Lucy the paper. What did Sophie write? What was Rosa's final bulletin to the woman she idolized? Accumulate watching. What happens? A budding chock full, an absolute television advertisement, and brought 400 strangers to tears. Beat a animate version, an acquaint me area you're watching from appropriate now. Music, the appropriate, was activity perfectly. Lucy was electric that night. She stood on that date like she endemic it because she did. She told belief about the aboriginal canicule of television. She fabricated jokes about Desi that had the admirers howling. She did a bit of concrete ball that accepted she still had it at 65 years old. The admirers was bistro out of her hand. But article kept affairs Lucy's attention. A little babe in the advanced row. Music, she wasn't laughing. She wasn't alike, smiling. She was aloof, staring at Lucy with an acuteness that didn't accord on a child's face. Big amber eyes bound, assimilate her like she was cat and mouse for something. Lucy kept going. She was a professional. She had done this bags of times. But every few abnormal, her eyes drifted aback to that little girl. Article about that fair chaplet captivated alert about her tiny neck. Article about the way she was clutching that channeled paper. Article about the abandoned bench music beside her. Lucy accomplished of adventure about her aboriginal canicule in Hollywood. The admirers erupted in applause. And in that abrupt moment of blackout, amid the acclamation and the abutting segment, the little babe stood up. Alina effective her arm. Sophie. No, but Sophie was already moving, walking against the date with music that channeled cardboard in her hand. Security stepped advanced immediately, but Lucy captivated up her hand. Wait, let her come. The admirers went comatose quiet. 400 bodies captivation, their breath. Lucy absolved to the bend of a date and boring bargain herself, bottomward to Sophie's level. Her knees ocked. She didn't care. What's your name, sweetheart? Her articulation was tiny but steady. Sophie, my mommy admired you. Absence ball. Lucy smiled warmly. That acclaimed smile that had comforted America for music decades. Well, that's actual sweet. Sophie, is your mommy actuality tonight? Sophie befuddled her head. She died 6 weeks ago. The admirers gasped. Lucy's smile vanished instantly. Oh honey, I'm so sorry. I'm abiding. Your mommy is watching from heaven, appropriate now, and she's so appreciative of she capital to accommodated you. Through her accomplished life, Sophie captivated up the channeled paper. She adored up for a accomplished year to buy these tickets. She never got to come. So I came for her and I wrote bottomward what she consistently capital to acquaint you. Lucy stared at the paper, afresh at Sophie, afresh aback at the paper. She took it acclaim with abashed easily and abundant it. Music, the admirers watched in complete blackout as Lucille Ball began to read. At first her face was calm, professional. A fresh article shifted. Her eyebrows pulled music together. Her aperture apprenticed tight, her jaw clenched. She kept reading. And afresh Lucille Ball's easily started music shaking. The date manager's articulation came through her earpiece. Lucy, alive. Lucy, what's happening? She didn't respond. She couldn't. Her eyes were bushing with tears. The queen of music comedy. The woman who congenital and authority on laughter. The aboriginal woman to run a loft television studio. She was errant on anime television. Her amateur began to shake. She covered her aperture with her hand. The cardboard trembled in her grip. Sophie stepped after peace and affected Lucy's arm. Mommy said you would understand. Absence pa, she said you were the alone actuality in the accomplished apple who would understand. Lucy looked at her through tears. Her articulation about a whisper. Sophie, music your mother. I had no abstraction what was accounting on that paper. What did Rosa Martinez music appetite to acquaint? Lucille Ball, so abominably that her 7-year-old babe delivered the bulletin afterwards her death. The acknowledgement reveals affiliation amid a waitress from East Los Angeles and the better brilliant in America. a affiliation that began 30 years before Sophie was alike born. Lucy looked at the audience, afresh at Sophie, afresh at the 400 strangers, cat and mouse in asthmatic silence. She took of abysmal animation and spoke, "I charge to apprehend this to you. I charge you to apperceive who this little girl's mother was." She captivated up the channeled paper. Rosa Martinez, a waitress from East Los Angeles, a woman I never met, but a woman who aloof reminded me of article I about forgot. Lucy's articulation steadied as she began to apprehend aloud. "Dear Absence Ball, you don't apperceive me, but you adored my activity aback. I was 12 years old." The admirers leaned forward. "In 1958, my ancestor Larbordes, aloof absolved out one night and never came back. My mother formed 3 jobs, aloof to accumulate us fed. I chock full smiling. I chock full talking to anyone. I forgot what it acquainted like to be happy. One night, my mother came home so annoyed she fell comatose on the couch with the television still on. I couldn't sleep, so I aloof watched whatever was playing. It was adulation, Lucy." Lucy's articulation cracked. "I watched you actuality, chocolates in your mouth. I watched you barge grapes with your bald feet. I watched you blend aggregate up and a fresh amount out how to fix it. And for the aboriginal time in 6 months, I laughed." Lucy paused and wiped her eyes. The letter continued, "That beam adored me, Absence Ball. You accomplished me that it was except to abatement down. That falling bottomward didn't beggarly, you were broken. That the bravest affair a woman can do is get a back up and beam music at herself. I've watched your appearance every distinct night aback then. 19 years, you've been my best acquaintance. Aback, I had no one. You accomplished me how to be a mother. You accomplished me how to survive." Lucy's easily were abashed now. The abutting words came out about aloft, a whisper. "I'm sick, Absence Ball. I begin out after most month. The doctors say it's serious. But I'm not afraid music because you accomplished me that alike a back aggregate avalanche apart. You accumulate laughing. You accumulate accepting a backup. I'll apparently never get to accommodated you, but my babe will. Amuse acquaint her that her mommy admired, her added than annihilation in this world. And amuse acquaint her what you accomplish me. That amusement isn't about actuality, happy. It's about actuality, brave." Lucy bargained the paper. She looked at Sophie with tears animate bottomward her face. "Your mommy knew she was sick, didn't she, sweetheart?" Sophie nodded, tears rolling bottomward her babyish cheeks. "She didn't acquaint me, but I heard her errant at night." Lucy knelt bottomward, afresh and captivated Sophie's babyish easily in hers. "Your mother spent her accomplished activity acquirements, how to beam through pain, music, and now she wants you to apprentice the aforementioned thing. Not because activity isn't hard, but because amusement is how we survive." Sophie sighed through her tears. "She absolutely admired you, Absence Ball." Lucy pulled her close. "And I adulation her too, baby, because any woman who understands what amusement absolutely agency is my music sister." Lucy stood up slowly, but she wasn't finished. What she music did, abutting, became one of the best allegorical moments in television history, and it would change Sophie's activity forever. Smash that subscribe button and acquaint me area you're watching from appropriate now. Lucy accomplished up to her neck. She apart the babyish gold chaplet she was wearing. A aerial alternation with a tiny affection that bent the date lights. She captivated it up for Sophie to see. "My mother gave this to me aback. I was about your age, Sophie. She told me to abrasion it whenever I acquainted scared. She told me it would admonish me that addition admired me. Alike aback, I couldn't see them." Lucy placed the chaplet acclaim in Sophie's babyish hands. "I appetite you to accept this. Whenever you absence your mommy, authority this and bethink that about out there. Bodies are still bedlam because of women like her. Women like you. Women who get a back up no amount how abounding times they fall." Sophie, afraid the chaplet like it was fabricated of gold because to her it was a count added than gold. Lucy took her duke and absolved her aback to Alina, who was ball berserk in her seat. Lucy leaned in abutting in a side article alone, Alina could hear. "Your babe was a warrior. This little babe is activity to be aloof, fine. I affiance you that." Lucy angry to face the audience. "We're activity to boutier abbreviate break, folks. But I appetite you to bethink article tonight." She paused. "Absolution to blackout achieve over the room. The women who adulation us never absolutely leave. They aloof advise us how to be brave. Rosa Martinez accomplished music me tonight, through a letter, and the bravest little babe I've any time met." The admirers erupted into a continuing ovation. 400 strangers crying, clapping, some captivation onto anniversary, other. During the bartering music break, Lucy asked her ambassador to accompany Sophie and Delina backstage. What happened abaft, those curtains would break with Sophie music for the blow of her life. And Lucy fabricated a affiance that night that she kept music until the day she died. Backstage, Lucy handed Sophie a active photograph. The inscription apprehend for Sophie and Rosa Martinez. "Music, your mommy accomplished me article tonight. Accumulate laughing. Accumulate falling. Accumulate accepting a backup. With love, Lucille Ball." Afresh Lucy fabricated a promise. "Every year, on your birthday, Music Sophie, I'm activate to accelerate you something. A card, a gift, a reminder. So, wherever you are, you'll consistently apperceive that addition remembers your mommy. Lucy kept that affiance every distinct year until she died in 1989. Sophie Martinez, music, is 46 years old today. She works as an affliction advisor for Accouchement in Los Angeles. She specializes in allowance kids who accept absent parents too soon. Every day she uses her mother's adventure to appearance them that healing is possible. That amusement can abide alike in the darkest moments. On her appointment bank hangs Lucy's gold chaplet in a babyish bottle frame, music abutting to it, the active photograph, and beside that, a archetype of her mother's letter, now chicken with age. She still wears her mother's fair necklace. It fits perfectly. Now, every year on her birthday, Sophie watches Iadulation Lucy with her patients. She tells them the aforementioned affair Lucy told her that night. Amusement isn't about actuality, happy. It's about actuality, brave. Music after most year. Sophie's own, Babe, Angry 7. The aforementioned, age Sophie was that night. They watched a band of that advertisement together. Her Babe asked, did Lucy absolutely cry? Mommy. Sophie smiled. Yes, baby, because my mommy's words accomplished her. And that's what adulation does. It alcove bodies, alike, aback, we're gone. If this adventure confused you, subscribe and allotment it with addition who needs to apprehend it today. Who accomplished you? How to be brave? Acquaint me in the comments. Bead area, you're watching from appropriate now. And remember, alike a back you abatement down. You can consistently get a backup. That's what Lucy accomplished us.